You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
So what is up, everyone? Paul Apostolakis, Brad Weisgerber, Salvatore Guzmano. No, fuck that. Salvatore Guzmano. We are Inside Real Estate. Thank you for listening. Please go ahead and subscribe. Go to our podcast. Go to our website, irepodcast.com. Catch us at wherever you get your podcast and decide to listen to us. For all four of you that listen. Today we have a very special guest. We have Kathy Schaumburger, and her maiden name was Ubelacher. A lot of consonants, a lot of vowels, almost as crazy as mine. So thank you for being in studio today. This is our first official episode at our new studio. We are uncomfortably close to each other.
The camera angle is definitely
we have
close.
It's we're very thankful. We've got platform here, and they're doing a good job. The last place we were at, they did a really good job, but we just saw a really good opportunity in having an upgrade, and we did. I think we've upgraded.
It's spelled with 2 D's.
Yeah, so obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we're going into the winter months. The market does feel like it's slowed down a little bit as far as real estate goes, if buyers and sellers, but I think that's just a natural ebb and flow right now.
Sure.
So, Kathy, why don't you start off by telling us kind of like, I always think it's interesting, how did you get into the profession, right? Everybody's got a different story. Like, I just fell into it. I decided, what happened that made you decide to do this crazy thing that we do?
Well, I've been in sales for 25 years, so I started off in the telecommunications industry. So I graduated from Michigan State. I interviewed. I was in communications. I basically went, my parents had an agreement with me that said, we'll give you $1,000 to go to school. And if you get a 4.0, we'll pay you back. If you get a 3.0, we'll pay you back half.
Wow.
Anything below that, we'll give you nothing.
That's awesome. All right.
I was like, shit. So I went to my advisor and I said, what's your easiest major here? Because I don't want to pay for my school.
Liberal arts.
Exactly.
Right.
So I went into communications and, where does that take you? Who knows? I graduated and I'm like, now what do I do? And interviewed at a lot of different jobs. And I was about to start a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was reading the paper.
A lot of people do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
EDS and Enterprise Rent-A-Car and Little Caesars were the top jobs at the time.
Yeah.
And I graduated in 92. So I was reading an article about an opportunity to be a salesperson selling long distance services. And my income potential would have been $50,000 the first year. So I went to that interview and my salary was $10,000 and my parents were like dying, like, how could you take that job?
You're crazy, right? Yeah.
But I took it because I didn't really have a cap, and that's what really introduced me to wanting to be in sales, where the company didn't really control what I was going to make. So, but it was brutal, but it really got me comfortable with cold calling. So, I basically would go in rain, snow, whatever, just basically drive around, find an industrial park, and walk building to building. And I don't know if you guys wouldn't remember this, but anyone that's my age group would. There's something that was called dial-around codes. You might have seen it on your home phone, 1010-288.
Yeah.
1010. Yeah. So I would just basically beg businesses to dial around to use the service that I was selling, and did a great job at it. I was number one account executive for that company.
How much did you make your first year?
$56,000.
So you really did well.
I kicked butt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I was the dummy that actually did the cold calling. The rest of my counterparts went to lunches, drank, and took like the cards that are in the fish bowls. Everybody puts a card in there for free lunch.
Yeah.
So, I got recruited to leave that company, and I went to a competitor, and I did really well there too. But I lost like the deal of a lifetime, and I worked really hard on it. So the guy that I lost the deal to, I just called him and I said, hey, what is your business model? Like, how could I have lost to you?
Right.
Because it was rude. We went from like 10 agents to 2, and he introduced me to being a consultant. So I'm like, okay, I'll become a consultant. So I basically went in and quit the next day. But at the time,
how old were you at this point?
I was 24.
So becoming a consultant at 24 is not a typical thing.
No.
Like all of a sudden, consulting at 24, that's good.
Yeah. So the way that worked basically is I could represent any carrier opposed to one carrier as a solution-based provider. So I didn't know I was pregnant at the time, and we were just about, my husband and I were just about building a house. So,
whoops, baby.
Yeah, that was scary. So I basically went on the phone and I cold called I mean, every day, probably 50 calls a day for 9 months.
Yeah.
And here I am 25 years later, I've never, ever cold called since. So that experience, like I would say, that 3 to 4 year experience really cultivated my success and where I am today and where I'll always be, I think, in sales. I think it really just created a platform and a work ethic that will never serve me wrong.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was in voice and data communications for that long. And, that industry evolved. You guys are 20 years younger than I am, but back in the day, we would just sell long distance service. Then I sold long distance service and toll-free numbers. And that evolved to selling DSL and then selling,
You just
T1.
kept going up into the technology chain,
Going
right?
and going and going. And
Yeah.
I loved it. And I could go into any company and be a solution. So if you want AT&T for this service, great. And I'll give you MCI for that. And those are old names. And then it evolved to, what it is today. So like 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of got this cupcake opportunity that evolved to be the hugest opportunity of my career. And I worked on it for 2 years, and essentially I got it.
Asshole.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. But it was a big, big project, and we got it. But at the very end, this company merged with a bigger company. And even though we got the deal, the company that they merged with didn't have a contract. So, and this was my retirement contract. I pretty much could have, just supported that and gotten paid for 10 years and never did a thing because I got paid residually. So that was like, I was just burnt out. And the technology in voice and data has really evolved, right? I mean, everything's under one big platform.
Right.
So, and at the end of my career, I was really selling cloud-based businesses. So anything that I sold was just based on a pipeline of connectivity to the internet. And the bigger the freeway I could provide, the more competitive the service was. And you guys all understand that technology.
Sure.
So in the last year of me cultivating this deal, I was talking to a lot of my real estate friends and things like that. And I was just kind of bummed that this didn't happen. And my one friend's like, just take a class and see if you want to try something different.
Yeah.
So I did. I took the class and I'm like, this is great. And so I had a company that I basically just merged my entire client base to. They take care of it still, so I still get paid residuals on my old company. But now, I just went into real estate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
How
so
long
here
ago
I
was
am.
this that you started real estate?
I was in early 2016 that I was actively doing it.
Oh, so not long ago.
No,
Wow.
no,
And you've
it's
already,
totally new.
So you've climbed the ranks pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So we talk about this all the time, and so I've talked to you about this. It's like once you become really proficient at sales, and once you learn to be a commission-based employee, I don't think I could ever be unless the salary was really ridiculous. But I couldn't just be just a salary. I couldn't imagine working harder and being better in my job and not getting paid more.
Not only salary, but also hourly. I was always a waitress. I was always based on my performance. I always got paid on my performance. I was, I did a paper route when I was younger and worked for those tips. So
you're a hustler, dude.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
100% German. So
that's
good,
awesome.
good bones.
That's
interesting.
interesting.
I think that's a good point, right? When you get out of school and you tell your parents, it was
Got this sweet
it's a
gig.
$16,000 base,
Yeah.
right? But some people there are making $300,000-$400,000 in 2 or 3 years, right? And
They
it's
look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
and getting in there too, you think man, I want to be like that guy, but you didn't see their climb to the top or whatever, right? And it's different everywhere, but once you find your sauce, essentially, right?
Oh, for sure.
It doesn't really matter where you're at, right? Selling cars, selling communication, selling houses, doing this, doing that. Sales isn't sales when you know what you're talking about or how to help people.
Right.
It takes a different type of person to do sales though, because it's not a typical job. You're not 9 to 5 in sales, no matter what sales you're in. Right?
No.
And that's why you don't have the base pay, because you're always hustling, you're always grinding, and you're always working for that commission.
Well, I think it takes a special human to have to bet on yourself. A lot of people are terrified to not have that security blanket. I've got friends that would never, ever, ever not do a salary because they're like, that's crazy. What would you do? I'm like, but if you're worth it, you'll get paid more. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. But it's okay. So you basically had a full career before going into real estate.
An evolving career too that had a lot more opportunity because this industry is just booming, right? And you look at voice and data, it's just the opportunities are endless because of all the connectivity, and then you can sell the equipment now, and everything's all one.
Yeah.
But my buying market went from, I used to cold call in Royal Oak in this area. I just parked my car. I could sell a gas station. I could sell anybody. But it evolved to being more, you wanted multi-locations, you wanted global, you wanted national. And my buying market was really boring. I could sell before to any kind of person. And then it really kind of got, into boardroom sales. And honestly, it became too intelligent for me. I had to get educated a lot more on technology.
Because it evolved so quickly.
It did.
It was like boom, 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 boom. Everything changed.
It did.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm 50. That career base really keeps me, I think, ahead of anyone else my age because I understand the technology.
Yeah.
And so many people that I have met in real estate, first of all, they don't have a business background, a negotiation background, but they don't understand the technology, how the cloud works. They just know they can dial in or put their password in and they're connected to this website. But how does it really work? What gets you there?
Yeah.
So I think me understanding that has definitely helped my social media and things like that.
That's interesting. That's it. So okay. So you decided to do real estate after having this full career, right?
Yeah.
Now you got your license, which doesn't really make you a real estate agent, just so everybody understands. Like just because you
oh
did it,
God, I can't get over how difficult this career is.
It's totally different. Yeah.
It is way more challenging than I ever anticipated.
Super competitive.
Yes.
There's issues everywhere. There's things you can't control. There's moving parts that you don't control.
Right.
Right. So okay, so you get in this industry that I think you got to be a little crazy to be into in the first place. And you start looking around. Where did you start at a brokerage? Did you start with just a phone? How did you get going in the business?
I talk to a lot of people. So I have a lot of friends that are in the industry. So I just kind of talked to a lot of people and got their perspective of agencies they thought that I'd be the right fit in. And then I actually called up some team leaders and interviewed them to try to figure out where.
Sure. What an interesting perspective. You interviewed them as opposed to
that's what you should be doing. I think a lot of people don't get that. They're
people don't think that way.
No,
Yeah.
they think they're being interviewed.
Exactly.
If you're a high level, high quality,
it's just a great mindset.
It's a much better.
Sorry to cut you off. I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, but I wanted to do well, and I wanted to know that where I went, I could do well. So I ended up being at Remax Classic, and the team that I was on, I felt there wasn't anyone quite like me on the team. So I'm like, that's a perfect fit. So unfortunately, that team leader gave me a lot of opportunities right off the get-go. I think my first day, he's like, can you go on this listing presentation? And I'm like, I don't even know how to do paperwork. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, but that, just kind of getting thrown into the fire was a great expeditious opportunity for me. And then, I left there after I had great success there. I went to Caldwell Banker, I had another opportunity with the team. And then I recently left there to go to eXp. And eXp is kind of like this, bursting agency that I think is not the right fit for many agents. But
that's interesting that you say that. A lot of people wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
That's
well,
good.
The reason being is that I look at somebody like how much there is to learn in this industry. It's blown me away because in the data industry, there are so many layers to implementing a data network. Things have to work. Imagine if your phones aren't working and the internet's working. Everyone's dead.
I can imagine it.
Life is over. And I had to, time multiple locations and multiple things. So I thought this was going to be a breeze. I mean, a cupcake walk. And I was amazed at how challenging and how many layers there are to this industry.
And it's fragmented and it doesn't work the right way.
Between the title companies and the lenders and the clients. And
insurance,
I can't emphasize how difficult this job is.
Correct.
At the end of the day, some days you got to think like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better way to do this.
But there isn't.
There is, but I just don't think.
There is, but there isn't.
The powers above, at least like on the mortgage side, right? Like the Fannie Maes and the Freddie Macs and the Ginnie Maes don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Not because, well, maybe they don't want it to happen, but it takes a lot of like political.
And that's what blows me away too, because you think you have to learn about houses, but you got to learn Freddie. And then you got to learn about the title stuff and like what, and then you have to have it really.
There's a lot of different.
Could not believe it.
Super complicated.
I think
that's why automation's tough in our industry.
Yeah,
There's too many moving parts.
Exactly.
But I think as an agent, right? Because you kind of control the transaction, right? Like you're like first contact usually to that client. Having a good team, having a good inspector, having a good title company, having a good lender. That everyone does their part, right? Then it's like a little bit easier, even if you
sure.
don't know about Freddie Mac or, Fannie
Right.
Mae.
And I pride myself on picking those individuals. And if you are
Yeah.
good at picking the right people, things will go okay. I've learned from the beginning of any transaction, I cannot promise you perfection,
Right.
but I will be the most proactive agent I can possibly be, and I will be there for you if anything goes wrong. So
Yeah. It's controlled chaos. Right?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
And the
absolute
chaos
control.
never ends.
And I like what you said there. A lot of agents don't look at it like this. A lot of people just see these ancillary people as like not part of their team or important sometimes. Like title, oh, who cares, right? Inspector, who cares? I mean, no.
Oh my God,
It
it's
all
huge.
matters.
It matters.
It
It's
all
huge.
matters. Loan officer, title company, inspector, all that stuff combined. One of them is bad, and the whole thing can fall
Oh,
apart.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, and it's a reflection of yourself, for
Right.
sure.
It all
for
comes
sure.
back to you ultimately.
Absolutely.
Right?
You gave the name out, right?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well,
Call this guy.
so-and-so didn't call me back. It's like,
Yeah, he sucks.
are you
Yeah.
doing?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're in the midst of like not only trying to learn all this stuff, but now how do you build your business from that point?
Well, I'm lucky that I'm from Michigan. I grew
Mhm.
up downriver, and I still live in Michigan,
Yeah.
and my family does too. So I
Good
would say
spirit,
my
right?
sphere of influence has been incredible. And anyone that like is going, I've got a few people that I'm actually meeting with that want to get into the business, but you just cannot screw up on your first few deals because your first few deals are your friends and family, and they all talk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would just say, like, no matter what, if you're new in the business, get a mentor, get someone give them the money to do it. Make sure the transaction's perfect. Make sure people are talking about you. Because, like in my neighbor went from one neighbor to the next to the next. Well, it's either going to be a good opinion or a bad opinion.
Right. There's no in between.
no.
You're like, man, they were all right.
No,
they're
exactly.
either gonna suck or they're gonna do really well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my mindset wasn't, making a ton of money initially. It was just getting my reputation built the first
Build
year.
your brand, right?
And then that kind of cultivated, from there. And I've gotten a lot of referrals. But honestly, my sphere of influence has just been incredibly good to me.
That's awesome.
And I'm really grateful for that.
Well, that speaks volumes on who you were before that, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people, like, all of a sudden, if you want to turn on your sphere of influence, but you're a dick to everybody your whole
Exactly.
life.
Exactly.
You can't really turn on your
Right.
sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, go F yourself.
Real
dude.
estate might not be
Move to a
the
new
career if
state.
you were like
Exactly.
the bully your whole life,
No.
right?
No.
Like, fuck that guy, dude.
But
Right.
I think you said
The guy
something
that
good
still owes
too.
5 people $100.
Yeah.
I think you said something good too about like pay them to be a part of it, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
give them a split because you have to invest in yourself up front.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And I think there's so many real estate agents are the greediest people
They're so-
I've
they-
ever
Yeah.
met.
Yeah.
Man, I'm like,
Well,
why
yeah.
wouldn't you? Let's just make this work.
To what you were saying too earlier
so good that you said that.
with EXP might not be the right fit for everyone, right? Like,
Right.
there is a value often to an office or a split
Oh,
or
gosh,
whatever,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And I think that people,
If that value is valid, then you should do it.
right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much value to being in a broker and having that leader you can go to all the
Yeah.
time. And EXP has the same model in a sense, but the reason that, and I've my last 15 to 20 deals, I would say, I asked my client, if I was with this company, would it have changed your decision to work with me?
Nope.
And they're like,
No,
I
you're the
don't
brand.
give
You're
a
the
This is a
brand.
sign
crap,
in the
you
yard.
know?
They don't know whose name's on
Could
it.
be
They don't
ABC.
care.
I feel like
yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, but you should earn that EXP seat, like that 100% commission model.
Oh,
And have
absolutely.
your own business with its own,
You got to
parts that
be,
move.
you have to, for that model to work for you, first of all, you can't be afraid of technology, which is what drove me to it. When I looked at their platforms, and there's so many things I've got to do better next year. One of it is mastering my CRM. And I really liked their product. And they have a lot of products that are cool. But when I talk to other agents, I'm like, are you using the technology? Like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I went there is because of technology. And again, it goes back to my old career. It's technology I'm not afraid of.
Yeah.
And I've worked out of my house since the beginning. So when I started my consulting company, I had a P.O. box. Nobody worked out of their house 20-some years ago.
Right.
So I had to hide it. Nobody would have. If I would have said I worked in my
like,
house,
why are you in my
what?
house? Yeah,
You're a
what's going on?
loser.
Yeah.
So,
You're a loser.
when I would go into my office, either at Caldwell Banker or at Remax, I was like distracted. I wanted to socialize and hang out.
For sure.
So I'm focused at home. So you've got to be focused at home.
See, I can't
you
work at
know.
home. I got 2 kids.
I have 3. Yeah.
I can't wear it. They're like, I'm like,
I know.
You gotta find
just battle through it.
quiet space, like a solitude.
I almost want to
area.
dig a hole like in my basement, like into the ground and like hide it so they don't know I'm at.
You should turn your sauna.
I think I
into
would
an
work
office.
at home if I lived as far from the office as you guys do.
Yeah.
I can't.
I love working at home. I get so much
I do
stuff
too.
done.
See,
I
it's
do
so
too.
weird. If I don't
I love
get up and go to
going in the office.
I don't feel like the other day I stayed home
Yeah.
and then I went to a meeting, but I didn't go to the office first. I was all fucked up. Yeah, my brain was all screwed up.
But I'm also quite unapproachable in the office.
100%.
People come up and I'm like,
So true.
He comes to the
what
office.
do you think? I'm just talking to myself over here?
Trotting around back and forth, clapping his feet on the phone.
Because we all wear like headsets at work, right? So
Yeah.
we don't know if someone's on the phone sometimes. And if someone's talking, you're just sitting there. And I'll literally have a full conversation with Sal. And he'll be like almost looking right at me. And they'll go, yeah, no, the numbers are, and I'm like, whoa, dude, like, why didn't you just like tell me? that you're
Sign
on the
language.
phone, right?
Well, it's like people are like, yeah, I feel like either I'm the crazy one sitting there talking to myself or other people around me are crazy talking to themselves.
We need
So
to
I'm like,
get,
dude, like, what do you,
Almost like a dunce cap.
no, I
where,
need like
I'm
a
on
little,
the phone. hat,
yeah,
you
like
put it on.
a light on
Yeah.
the top of my head, like red. Don't
That says
don't
asshole,
fucking talk
don't
to
talk
me.
to me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So now you work from home, and obviously you've got all these great tools. So eXp, I know. I mean, I don't know their platform like too well, right?
I don't either. I just joined them, so
Yeah.
I got a lot to learn quickly.
Yeah. So what drew you? Just other than the technology, was there anything else that drew you to the whole concept?
Yeah, actually, my husband got a great opportunity last April in Houston and moved. So I've been married for 27 years, so not a big deal. Been
Okay.
together a long
Yeah.
time.
You're like, go.
But when
Get out.
that's probably what was one of the number one things is that I've gone there to see him quite a bit. And if I could have a balance in both Michigan and Texas, eXp is the solution for
Yeah,
me.
I could see that.
There's
sure.
only
Yeah.
one cap, so it's really the only company that would allow me to do that. And
Right.
I've worked really hard over the last 4 years, and so I don't want to give up what I developed in Michigan.
Yeah.
But obviously, I need to support my husband too, and there's opportunities that have been presented to me in Houston. So I kind of just see this evolving to greatness, and eXp is the model that's really going to get me there.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're licensed in Texas, I take it.
I
Working on
am
it.
going to be, but
Going-
my gosh, it's so much more difficult there. It's
Really?
180
Texas real estate laws.
hours.
Wait, so
180
Texas
opposed to
real estate
40
laws
in
are no
Michigan.
joke.
But opening a mortgage brokerage there, at least it was very simple.
No, it's
no,
not.
it's not.
It was like
Because
all
the-
you would have to do is
No,
look at-
Texas
Yeah.
real estate laws are really, really tight.
They're
And actually,
because of all the oil and land and
it's
mineral
one of
rights.
the reasons
Yeah.
actually.
It's a big reason.
Because Texas is a weird cash out rule, and prior to
because
the
of the
crash,
mineral rights. Yeah.
they were very tight on cash out rules. So their real estate market didn't crash like a lot of other markets did.
Right.
Which was interesting because I remember living through that before the crash. I'm like, man, this is so stupid that they have all these rules, right?
Texas 58.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
if anyone knows what a Texas 58.6
And
is.
then the crash happened, and then all of a sudden I looked over and like their values didn't really, like they didn't go down like that.
Right.
Like, a lot of,
Right.
yeah,
Well,
they're
it's
very
all-
protected.
But yeah, they have their own economy due to oil.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Like
there's a lot of
in
different
Houston.
things in
Yeah.
Houston too. The medical community is huge as
Yeah.
well. There's a lot of different industries there. So my husband works for Gulf States Toyota.
Which is the largest Toyota dealer in the country.
Sal just knows
wow.
that.
I don't
Sal's
know.
like, I know
I
this.
spun out on Wikipedia the other day and somehow
way.
came across that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's huge.
Sal and
it
Wikipedia.
is. It
Yeah.
is. And the guy that owns it, it actually owns like a production company. He has nothing to do with automotive.
Listen to this
so-
deal. They're the only company down in those states that can sell Toyota.
Oh yeah.
You
yeah.
know all this.
Yeah, it's like a
That's
they've
crazy.
cornered the market.
That's awesome.
Why does he know this?
He has too much time.
So Sal will do this thing a little off topic. He does
I think we talked about it on the show once before.
6 degrees of
The 7 degrees of separation
Oh, yeah.
on Wikipedia.
So Sal looks at me and goes, he
On
goes,
Wikipedia. It's
he literally
awesome.
goes, give me a topic, dude. Anything. Give me a topic. I'm like, I don't know, man. The revolutionary, like, and then he'll be like, oh, I found it in 3 clicks.
Yeah, he'll start. You give him a starting point
That's
and
awesome.
an ending point, and he'll like
Yeah, you can
he'll
start-
get to it.
you can
just by
start with
using the hyperlinks.
Starbucks, double shot energy,
So I'm next to Google here.
and I'll end on Gulf States Toyota in like
great.
7 clicks.
Just using the hyperlinks on the Wikipedia.
He also
page.
does
It's
mortgages
awesome.
on the side.
What'd you study at Western?
Finance.
Beer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Finance. And then
Nice.
someone was like, got a real good finance opportunity for you at Quicken.
Oh, yeah.
At like a career fair. I was like, oh,
And
hey,
better
starting
than
a-
me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when
starting
he
a career.
crumpled up his degree and lit it on fire because it did nothing
Yeah.
for him.
I spent stacks and stacks of money on a college degree, and then I went and sold natural gas door to door.
Hey,
Did you really?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
wouldn't
that's
be
awesome.
sitting here though if I didn't go to Western.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
You don't think so?
That's good.
I wouldn't be sitting here if I
Why?
didn't go to Northern.
Just the way that things went down. I feel like in college I changed. You know,
Oh,
Well,
that's
that's kind of
great.
the
Yeah.
point of college.
I don't know. I got a job there when I was there. I worked at PNC and did collections.
Oh,
I wouldn't
okay.
have done that and that was like, hey,
Well, I think every experience
it's like
gets you to where
the
you are.
auto dialer
Absolutely.
would literally just pick up someone and you're like, hey, whoa, $300 past due, and I can see you have zero in your account. How can you pay this? It was a tough job.
We're going to start donating plasma, bro.
Yeah, it was tough.
Okay. My buddy did that actually. It's really, he did a lot of it, like multiple times a day, and he wasn't supposed to. Anyways, so
That's not good.
so let's talk about the market right now. So like obviously right now you're in it. I mean you're working and you were in it when it was really hot, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean Michigan especially was like super hot. We had
These last couple of years.
last couple of years. It was like whoa, dude. Like
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
winter didn't matter, summer didn't
No.
like the seasons didn't matter. It was all busy all the time, right? And this year we're kind of seeing like a much more seasonal type slowdown that we had.
More
in the
normalcy.
past. Yeah, more
Yeah.
normalcy. Part of it, could be fear from the market. It could be this like whole impeachment thing. I mean, there's so many things
Oh, yeah.
happening, right?
Yeah.
So how are you kind of handling that? What do you feel, or do you just like say I'm just going to keep moving and just keep doing what I'm doing because you can't really control it?
Well, I look at it as a great opportunity because when the market changes and it's not so easy, that's how you can set yourself apart.
I agree
So,
with that.
2 years ago, anybody could have listed your house and sold it, especially the nice cupcake houses. So I've been waiting for it. I think this is where I'm really going to shine is because the market has adjusted. So
I love
I'm
that
looking forward
mentality, by the
to
way.
it. And with being a little bit slower too, it allows me to invest my time into doing more social. There's so many things I got to get better at.
Mhm.
And I've been so busy and just grinding it out, since I started. So if I do get the opportunity to have more of a lull,
Yeah.
then I've got a business plan in place. But I embrace those challenges, and I think it'll be awesome. I think that people are going to
I love that.
really kind of evaluate who they need to sell their house and why. And I think I've got a couple edges on some things that not all agents do. So I'm hoping that I'm right. We'll see.
That's awesome.
And I think that's a good way to think about it too. Like you said, 2 years ago, anyone, right?
Yeah,
Aunt
for
Tilly,
sure.
Yeah, Aunt Tilly can list your home
Oh,
and sell
God,
it.
yeah.
Who sells one a year, right?
Mhm.
But and on our side, like when I see rates going down, I kind of cringe. Unless
Yeah.
it like
Exactly.
unless the deals I already have in the pipeline, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like nice, but I think about how that's derailing to a degree, like our mission,
All of a
right?
sudden,
Which is to
Right.
like focus
Joe's
on
Joe's mortgage hub
relationships
is now
and-
in the mix.
No, you're going to need professionals to get the job done.
Yeah,
So,
we
we'll
want it
see.
more challenging, right? 'Cause it
Yeah,
gets rid
for
of
sure. Get rid of the riffraff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like get rid of them. Like I would rather just compete on a more level playing field on that as far as that goes. So, but you mentioned something that you get an opportunity to kind of work on your craft, right? Which is smart. But what are those things that you think that you need to work on?
Definitely a CRM. So I need to, I've worked with a couple of them, but I'm really comfortable with the eXp one based on the research that I've done. So I just want to master it. I want to work it. And then cultivate a little bit more social media. I guess everything I do just kind of personal stuff on social media. I don't use all forms of social media, but what I am doing is working. So I don't necessarily want to be a lot more busy if I am out to bring in a couple more people, but pretty much those two things. I want to get bored with my CRM that I'm so good at it and that I've mastered all those tools. And I think that I'll get a lot of return out of it. So initially I have been kind of chasing everything and trying to figure out what works.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of have that nailed down. I want to now cultivate.
Is eXp is their CRM a proprietary CRM, or is it like a big?
I think they own it.
They own it.
Yeah, it's theirs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's theirs.
I wasn't sure.
I don't think they like slap their name on some other one.
Right. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't
I
sure
don't
if
know
it was like
for
a
a fact. I
Zoho
don't
or
know
like
for
a
sure.
Salesforce, or if it was like their own.
And they've got a lot of tools that you can do off of that. So a lot of like drip campaigns that aren't so generic and, ways of promoting your listings and things like that. So I'm excited to exhaust all those tools.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're definitely a planner.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Right?
I kind
Like
of
you
am.
have like
She has
you
a
have-
vision.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
a vision, but you're like an executor too, right? Like you're executing everything that you want to do. It's interesting.
She's
Okay.
like a
Yeah.
perfect example of someone that actually does like SMART goals that are like have a big goal and then all the micro goals behind it and actually
Yeah.
drives to
It's
So
it.
being
I
like-
was driven by the
most people
Franklin
don't do that.
Planner back in the
Yeah.
day, so I had to have a proprietary. You remember? Yeah.
I'm
Stephen
realizing
Covey.
how much I hate to plan.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend's just like, where is
You
Thanksgiving?
and I both.
I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
But you know, when it
Let's
comes
just go
to
eat turkey somewhere.
to socializing, I hate planning. I just want to
Yeah.
wing it. Let's just wing it.
Let's just have a good
Yeah.
time.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys want to plan it? Great.
Yeah.
Just let me know when to show up. I'm there.
Kind of like our show, totally winged.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Or lunch.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah,
Taco tienda?
totally,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess,
Exactly.
as long as you're planned in what matters, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has their own method. But at a point, you have to also admit you need help from technology or a planner or something,
Oh,
right?
for
You
sure.
can only do so much in your head. And I see that a lot with like waiters and waitresses, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like this is a pretty big order. You might want to write it down,
Right.
right? And
Oh,
they're like,
I know.
Oh, I'm the
I don't
shit,
understand
right? And then
that.
like they come back and I'm like, dude, you forgot my fucking tots.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
Where are my tots,
like
man?
you're good.
I'm not going to think less of you
You're
if you
good,
write my
but yeah,
order
if you
down.
write it down,
Not
it's
gonna
it's
think
not
less
going to
of you.
screw you up.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have a rotary phone in your house?
Do
Oh,
I have one
yeah.
now?
Have you ever had one?
Yes.
You have
Seriously?
a
I used to have a candlestick rotary phone. Yeah.
What do you mean? Why do you have a rotary phone today?
I
'Cause-
don't today. That's why
Oh.
I thought you were. That's
No,
why I
no,
asked.
no.
You said, "Have you ever?" I
Like,
said, yes.
like growing up, we had a rotary phone,
Yeah.
which because we were talking about phones and communicate. You
Yeah.
probably don't even know what a rotary phone is.
I know what a rotary phone is, but no, I did not have one.
Yeah.
I did have the button. I had the.
There's
the-
those funny Facebook videos or YouTube videos of like millennials or like the
Like cassette
kids,
players that don't know how to use them.
trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to use it, or
We
like
had
the
the-
old
Oh,
school
yeah.
camcorders
with the
like, what
very
is this?
sharp, square, clear buttons, right? Like
Yeah.
the one that hangs on a wall. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
off yellow,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
off beige,
60-foot
right?
cord on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You needed a long cord because you didn't
Yeah.
have cordless.
Well, the phone, I mean, with double line, we used to have to call in and have a phone conversation interrupted to like get in touch with our friends. There's like no double line
No.
either.
Yeah.
How about when
Yeah.
AOL you had the dial up and you call and you just get that?
Oh God,
Well, I remember
yeah.
having a cord from our kitchen to my bedroom that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
100 feet long because
Yeah.
I needed AOL in my room, and like nobody could call the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking any phone calls. I'm gonna play Duke Nukem online
Yeah.
on dial-up.
Now it's just crazy.
Yeah.
There's like not really a home phone, you know?
No,
I don't have
no.
one.
My parents don't
I don't
have one
have-
anymore.
long distance, like the whole thing that got you started, is not a thing anymore.
I mean, when I started selling long distance services, it was 27 cents a minute for toll calls and then 8 cents a call for a local call. I mean, so I could
these
go
are
into
like, what do you mean
anybody's
you pay per
business
minute?
and say, okay, I'm going to give you 18 cents a minute. And I was saving them a ton of money.
Yeah.
So think about how far the communications industry has gone,
Yeah.
and real estate really hasn't changed much. Like
No,
it really
it
has
hasn't.
not changed much. Like it's still a mortgage, it's still a real estate person, it's still a title company, it's still there hasn't been this like exponential evolution about.
But I think
the
it's
business.
coming. I think that there's a lot of new and interesting things coming
How,
that
though?
you have to.
It's so fragmented. How do you get it all under one roof?
That's the challenging part. That's why we
But
don't
the
see
thing
the change.
is, right? You're selling a home potentially built in the 50s, right? Like the
Yeah.
house itself hasn't really changed, so the product you're selling is the same that it was, right?
The product is the same for sure.
The way you
Yeah.
do
Sure.
it, though, right? I mean, that
way
can
that- yeah.
definitely evolve. But like, for example, like a mortgage, right? That's way different. Like the actual, like if you think about like what you're facilitating,
sure.
like the,
That
the
has
wires
changed.
and paying it online and
The electronic portion
signing
of it,
and
yeah.
pulling all the
Yeah.
documents versus. I mean, you can do e-sign via, but I don't think you can get really much more technical than that, right?
Well, I'm hoping that at least at the closing table we can go electronic
Yeah.
because
It's
there's so
starting.
much paper wasted.
starting.
So
Yeah,
hopefully
it's
that'll
starting.
be
That's
fully
the
the amount of
implemented
paper
soon.
involved in this industry is crazy.
It
I'd have to
is.
imagine
especially the green society that we are, that we're wasting all these.
the archive of Quicken Loans is probably like some shit you see on like Harry Potter's like library, right? Like just like massive amounts of paper.
I highly doubt it. I think they have everything
Back
electronic.
in 10, 15 years ago, it was probably like that. Now it's all.
Well, so I worked at Quicken early on.
But
Yeah,
they
everybody's
shredded all that
worked it.
paper.
Where you actually had a book, like when you'd get a deal, you'd have to like take the folder and like walk it down to folder receipt, and
1
they would
inch, 2 inch
and they would
folders,
hand
yeah.
them the book. Yeah, it was
Oh my
like
gosh.
way different, right?
all
Yeah.
handwritten
That
notes
part
on it
has
and
changed.
shit.
Yeah. I mean, think about this about our. I was thinking about this the other day. We can work from anywhere now.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go to your office to work, right?
No.
Like we could be. I mean, I got a text message right now. I could look at it right now and do it.
I wrote loans in Costa Rica a few years ago.
Right.
I was sitting there like on the shitty Wi-Fi, like,
yeah.
what's your social?
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I was funding loans in a campground this summer.
That's what I mean.
Connected to my cell phone.
Which is
tethered to it.
probably the bad thing about being in sales is like, how do you leave your job? You know, when you're in
You
sales,
don't.
that's the hardest part of this job. And
Unless
probably,
you set it up from the beginning.
yeah,
Like, these are my hours. Right?
Yeah.
Like when we
and
all
who
worked
does
at
that?
Nobody. Not
UWM.
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
know.
but that's different though. Like for us, if a
Or
client
any
needs
lender, yeah,
if a
really.
client, we're a client, right? They're business to business. If a client needs to talk to us, you're talking.
Yeah.
to
Oh,
them.
hell yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna be
Yeah.
like, hey man, I'm not open.
yeah, yeah.
There's something that's nice about business to business to a degree, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, hey,
And that's how I work. I'm available. I don't sleep much. 5 hours. I'm happy. So when I find agents that call me at 9:30, like I'm so sorry, I'm like no problem.
this is what we do,
Let's
man.
just get it done.
It's the best time to get a hold of me.
Exactly.
I
do a-
like when people call.
I do a ton of business between 6:30 and 8.
'Cause that's when people are working.
Yeah,
I mean,
clients
yeah.
and agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when.
So,
It's
yeah.
funny when I figured out that would like work like Mondays. Like people like kind of get going, but it's not really. Tuesdays everybody's working.
yeah.
Wednesdays working. Thursday by Thursday night they're like, yeah.
Fridays are hit or miss.
Fridays are dead. Saturday, Sunday work.
Fridays sometimes though are explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey, we want to see a house this weekend.
Yeah,
we got a
they can
bug
do. Yeah.
apparently overnight and never got pre-approved, so we need it
Yep.
right now.
I know.
I'm like,
That's what I did.
That's probably been my biggest in my old job. It was 9 to 5. I was dictated by business hours, but balancing because I've got 3 kids and balancing my personal life and this because I'm a little bit of all salespeople are addicts if they're good at it.
For sure.
So that's been my biggest challenge is dialing back at the appropriate times and
Being
I've.
present.
Not
at
having
home.
that anxiety, like
you-
you answer the phone over like.
But I do still. So
do
that's
you
like
plan to build your own team?
Yeah, I do. I was 6 months in the business and I got an assistant. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to that's just too much paper and I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect and I'm not.
Yeah.
When do we get assistants? I mean, it's 6 months. Shit, we've been
Dude,
years.
we have 14 assistants. They just don't work well.
Yeah. And I've been lucky. Yeah, in my old business, I had a friend work for me for 8 years and she moved and I was working in my old business and a friend just popped in to say hi and she's like, if you're ever bored, I'm interested to help you out. I'm like, you're hired, sit down.
Let's go.
She worked for me for 10 years. She was great.
That's awesome.
And then a friend reached out to me. She was managing my son's hockey team, Michigan State graduate like I am. Just reached out to me out of the blue and said, if you ever need help with paper and work and stuff, I'm a little bored just being home. And she's kicking butt and she's about to take her real estate exam and she's fabulous. She'll kill it.
That's awesome.
In the industry,
Right?
yeah.
And then
yeah.
you find a replacement for what she's doing now, and
I already
she sells
got,
homes
yeah,
and,
that's kind of already cultivating. So, but I appreciate people say never hire a friend. I've been so lucky with the people that have worked for me and with me. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is hard to work with friends.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that is the evolution to like
And upon the
having a
choke
little
slam.
more of a life, right?
yeah.
I mean,
You
finding
have to.
someone
If I didn't have her, honestly, I don't think that I'd have. I don't know. I would
Yeah.
probably be divorced and whatever.
Likewise,
Yeah.
I mean, I would be buried in the office like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with that.
Yep.
I have to have a good support system.
All right.
For
So,
sure.
Kathy, we do this thing called 3 questions.
Oh.
First one's always the same. They're pretty random other than that. First question is, what scares Kathy?
Oh, wow. I think I live in constant fear of I have constant FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
So
What is that?
Fear of missing out.
FOMO, dude.
Oh,
Fear of
I've
missing
never heard
out.
that
Yeah.
before.
I
Sounded
live
dirty.
Yeah. I like FOMO.
No, it's my worst fear. So if I'm at a party and my parents are having dinner with my siblings, like, oh, I'm missing that.
Yeah,
I could
feel
be on
that.
vacation and then a client will want this. Oh, I'm missing that.
Yeah,
So
I
I
feel-
think that's probably
I can understand that.
Fear of missing out.
a fear of
sucks.
missing out sucks.
Even if I'll
always.
always text the guys, hey, are you guys at the Rock? Like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, dude, but we're just doing what we do at the Rock every day, which is
Yeah.
kind of like just sit here and drink
But
a
are you
couple
having
beers
fun?
and complain.
You're like,
Well, are you guys still going to be there? They're like, I don't know. We might leave in like 30 minutes. I'll text them like 25 minutes later, like, still there.
So you get it, right?
Even though I'm not
Yeah.
ever coming.
Yeah.
Like I'm at my house. I'm
Yes.
like,
Sal's with
hey,
his
what's
girlfriend
going on there?
shopping. He's like, you guys at the Rock? Yeah, man. You want to come up here? Man, I can't. You guys still there? Yeah, man.
You totally have
killing
FOMO.
himself.
Yeah.
You have total FOMO.
All right. If you could choose one country to get rid of on the planet, which one would it be?
Oh,
And
my
get rid of?
God. That's a terrible
Hold on,
question.
man.
No.
Get rid
New
of.
I'm not
question.
answering. I'm not-
New
I'm
question.
sorry.
New question.
I had
That's
to like
horrible.
salacious thought in my head.
It's so funny because I
and-
play this game with my friends whenever I meet anybody, I
Yeah.
do this. I'm like, did you get to know them?
This is
I know
This
the
is
country
good.
that Paul was thinking because he's Greek.
yeah. I don't like Italians.
Turkey.
No, I'm kidding. So the one we'll do is if you could spend a week in somebody else's body, who would it be and why?
Oh God, that's easy. J-Lo.
J-Lo.
I just think she's hot, and she can do anything. She can act. I've always wanted to sing. I wish I could dance.
Can't really sing.
She can too sing. Doesn't
Pretty
matter.
sure she's made multi-millions of dollars singing.
I mean,
too.
she's in cosmetics. She's in clothing. She's just like
Yeah.
she's
I mean,
amazing,
she does look hot.
and she's hot too. Yeah,
She looks really, really good.
She's killed it.
yeah.
Yeah, she has killed it.
Give her credit.
She started as a dancer on what's that show? What show was it?
Amir.
No, she was a dancer on the comedy show with the Wayans brothers.
Saturday Night.
No,
Saturday Night Live?
whatever.
No,
Nobody's gonna remember it.
The
Okay.
Wayans brothers, like that show.
No.
What's the name of the show? They had a show
World.
called The Wayans brothers.
In Living Color. In Living Color. There we
Living
go.
Color.
There we
Okay.
go. Got it. All right. That's good. That was a really fast answer. That's the fastest that's
That
ever
was
gotten answered.
really fast.
Right?
What's the third
Yeah.
question?
I'm trying to think of a good one. You guys got one?
I always like the animal one.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Okay. If you could be one animal in the animal kingdom, what would it be and why?
Oh God, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Probably a monkey. Yeah, I mean, monkeys always look like they're having fun.
Yeah, hey.
They look chill. They have like that human element.
Yeah. They can
Yeah.
climb trees. You
They're
can-
You get
smart
climb
enough to, like,
trees,
mischievous.
yeah, they've got emotion.
Steal a beer from like
Yeah.
They can drink
a
a beer.
tourist,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, you'll hear eagle or lion. Never heard monkey, but that's good.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's a
It'd be
good
pretty
one.
sweet.
Clever,
Everyone likes
clever
monkeys.
mischief.
You can kind of like do whatever you want and still be kind of like a human.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
and people will forgive you because you're a
And climb
monkey.
trees.
What? Okay. What animal? What animal would you not be? Ever?
an animal I would not be. I'd rather speak of a reptile because that's probably my biggest fear is snakes. But
Those things suck.
Well, hold on, we already answered your biggest fear.
Yeah.
I know that would be like my
Other fear, yeah.
an animal I wouldn't want to be.
I wouldn't want to be like something slimy and like
reptile.
Yeah.
slug.
I think there's a lot of things I
Sloth.
would not want to
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I would
Yeah,
not
I
want to
kind of would want to be a sloth though. Those things are cool as shit.
They're chill.
Yeah.
They're
You
chill.
be. You could never be a sloth though, dude.
No,
No
I couldn't.
way.
No.
It'd be good to have the ability, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's in our.
I could be a sloth.
do.
Brad could definitely
I
be
could
a
be a
sloth.
sloth.
I mean, you kind of look like a sloth.
Yeah.
He's got that Sid from Ice Age.
I hate you guys so much.
Can we pull that up on the
No,
screen? Can we
we
pull the
cannot.
Sid from Ice Age on the screen right now? All right. Well, Kathy, tell the audience how they can get a hold of you.
Just call me my cell phone 734-674-6324.
One more time.
734-674-6324.
Perfect. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. It was a good time. Really interesting story.
Thank
It was
you.
awesome. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.